Hi, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is the show all about farmers markets. Whether you're a farmers market manager, a farmer, or a food producer selling at farmers markets, or just a curious farmers market shopper, this is the podcast for you. Today we bring you a Best of Tent Talk episode featuring Tiffany and Terence Cooke of Cooks in the Kitchen. They are avid farmers market shoppers and give us insight on what a loyal market customer is looking for when they shop. Summertime is a great time to attract and keep new shoppers at your farmers market, so we hope you will find our interview with the Cookes interesting and helpful.
All right, so guys, can you tell us a little bit about how you started at Cooks in the Kitchen on Instagram, and have you always cooked together? How did that come about?
The Instagram actually started because I needed to know what we enjoyed eating. So I would always say to Tiffany, what was that thing that we made 5 weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it was, and I said we needed to start cataloging meals that we enjoyed. So she would take pictures every now and then it just morphed into starting an Instagram page. And it was really about just so that we could remember what we enjoyed eating, so that we knew to make that again when we couldn't figure out.
That makes so much sense.
It does make so much sense.
I get things and Joe will be like, make that thing that you made that was like, and he'll give me one hint. I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm sure I made it up as I went along.
Yeah.
No idea. So clever.
Yeah,
So my dad would be like, what do you want for dinner? And we'd be like, whatever. And like, well, I don't know how to cook that.
We need a picture catalog.
Yeah.
I feel like I take pictures of stuff, but it's not like beautiful pictures. Like I would never start an Instagram page with the pictures I take of like the pot pie that I make. But that's good. Like if the pictures are nice.
Yeah,
Why not?
we have amazing natural light in
Yeah.
our house, so that has a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
We've actually been thinking about it. We started this in February last year, so we haven't yet gone through the Instagram page with daylight savings or whatever the opposite is. So we're wondering what's going to happen when it's 4:30 and it's dark. How are we going to get those pictures that everyone's like, wow, how do you get it to look like that? And
Cooking dinner at noon, I think, is the thing.
How do you get it to look like that, though? Are you using...
I'm just using my iPhone 7.
I was going to say, are you using an iPhone or are you using a big camera?
Nope, just my iPhone, and then I use also a photo editing app called Snapseed, which really helps brighten up the food sometimes if we need to brighten it up a little bit. Yeah. And then we also, once we started it, we were thinking that we had a unique angle because Terence does all the menu planning and shopping, and then I do the execution of the food.
Oh, interesting.
That is unique, too, yeah.
And Tiffany a lot of people nowadays are always on social media, and Tiffany had her Instagram page. I wasn't on Instagram.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook, but normally I would just antagonize people. So I was like, I gotta get off Facebook. This is awful. I haven't been on since we started this, which is, my life has gotten so much happier. It's amazing. So I was like, why don't we just start a page so that we have something to share and work on together? Because we're both pretty artistic people.
Yeah.
So it was a nice outlet.
Such a great outlet.
Yeah, we're having fun with it.
Very fun. Do you have day jobs?
Terence does. I stay home with our girls who are 2.5 and 4.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do, Terence?
I work for Amen Healthcare in Del Mar, healthcare staffing.
So not a big artistic... Not a big
Oh
graphic
no!
photographer.
So you need this outlet. Is what
Oh
you're
my
saying.
gosh, do I? Yes, please.
Well, that's good. That's serving that purpose. So when did you guys start shopping at the farmer's market? So you say you do the shopping, Terence, but I mean...
Well, we lived in Chicago, and that's where we met. And we started going to the Green City Market in Lincoln Park, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But we all know about Chicago winters, so it's not year-round. And when we moved to Little Italy, we were so excited to find out that there was a farmer's market right at our door that was open every Saturday all year.
All
so
year.
it was really
Right.
exciting. So we just loved it.
Yeah, we moved from Chicago to the corner of Beach and Columbia.
Oh, okay.
You were like
So-
right
So
there.
close, yeah.
It was a block away when it used to be
on Cedar.
Columbia.
Yeah.
And I think my first experience of a farmer's market was in Madison, Wisconsin, when I was in school. They had the Capitol Square.
And that's another great farmer's market. I just went there this
Beautiful
summer.
One of the oldest
Saturday.
ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we were
it's
there.
really nice. nice.
That's one of the oldest farmers markets in America.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
Really?
beautiful.
Uh-huh.
There you go. So that was, I mean, growing up in New Jersey, I had absolutely no idea what a farmer's market was. And Garden State, I mean, a lot of farms, but was not aware of farmers markets.
Yeah, so that must have been a nice kind of change to come out and have that access like year round. So you guys shop, you know, all the time at the market, or can you talk a little bit about like what you do? Like, do you have a game plan when you get to the market, and how do you kind of execute your shopping there?
It comes down to the menu planning. If I get it done, I'll try to get some things planned out before we go to the farmer, so I know what I'm picking up, if it has to be meal specific.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's a lot of those key essentials that it doesn't matter if we're making a specific meal that week. It's just we need to have it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like the seedy wheat. I gotta have seedy wheat from the Honeymoon Homestead.
Oh, God,
I mean, it
so
just
good.
it sets the. I go through weeks where if we don't go to the farmers and I don't have a loaf during the week, I just feel depressed at breakfast time. I'm like eating someone else's bread. I'm like, oh, this would be so much better.
With that loaf of CD.
I've had that. I feel like a lot of farmers market shoppers feel that way. Like if you are out of town and you miss a market or something, you have to get some kind of substitute from somewhere else, or you don't have that item that you have all the time. It's like if I have to get like grocery store hummus, I'm so depressed. Like I get it because I need that kind of flavor, but it's like, oh, I wish I could be eating my like majestic garlic. You know, it's sad. So it's good you guys are consistent about it. Then you're consistent shoppers.
But yeah, I mean, and it gets you addicted to certain way of eating. The baby Clydesdale, the sriracha. I can't eat eggs anymore without it.
That's right, everybody.
That's right.
You heard it here
Once
first.
you go baby Clydesdale, you don't go back.
Like,
That's
it's-
right.
It's true.
It's so true.
It really is true. And sometimes I'm a weirdo. I put barbecue sauce on my mac and cheese. And I won't eat
That
mac
sounds good.
because the smokiness, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of people freak out and they're like, "That's crazy." And I'm like,
Never
"No."
thought of that.
Like they always the Texas barbecue burger or whatever. That's always cheddar and barbecue sauce. It's
That's
a
right.
great combination. So I literally don't eat macaroni and cheese if I know I can't have barbecue sauce with it.
Yeah.
So that starts to happen with certain foods. So eggs, I can't eat my eggs now without the sriracha.
Yeah.
So
Get that flavor combination, that craving. That's actually what makes a good food product, is something in your flavor combination that creates a craving that people just can't hit any other way.
Absolutely, yeah. That's how I feel about all the stuff I get at the market, that it's like, I eat the sriracha on mac and cheese. Like when you have kids, I feel like you're just eeting mac and cheese all the time. So it's like, what are you going to put on it? So it's like more of an adult.
Elevate it.
It's a mature mac and cheese. So I put sriracha on it, and it's just, then I feel like a grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still put spinach in your mac and cheese?
Yes, I put it in mine with my kids.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, my kids
I've
like
heard of
those.
peas.
I mix broccoli
Peas.
with it.
Broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can do cauliflower. My kids don't notice because it's white, so I can like mix it in. They
Yeah.
don't see it. My kids don't like any like specks in their mac and cheese. It's so annoying. They'll pick it out. So I put onions and cauliflower because they can't really see it.
Yeah, that's smart.
But yeah,
it's kind of messed up if you ask me.
I messed up. It's okay. They're not listening to this podcast.
Actually, the reason I like to do the food shopping is because when I grew up in Jersey with my single mother, obviously with a single mom, you're attached to her hip because there's no one else to watch you.
Yeah.
So I loved going food shopping with my mother. I mean, I vividly have memories from childhood all through high school.
Oh, wow.
We would go to Grand Union, and then there was Treasure Island in Wayne, New Jersey, and my mom was very systematic about it. She knew every single aisle, so her shopping list was based on the aisles. So it wasn't like she had to go through and look at every time. She knew she was knocking things off one after the other. So if you look at my shopping list, it's just pretty much
Same
exactly
way you know where the
like
vendors
that.
are at the market.
I know
So smart and
the
efficient.
vendors, and then if I go to grocery store, I know everything by the aisles, and that's how my list is planned. So I figure if Tiff's gonna do all the cooking, I've got to play my part. So
Yeah.
I like that
But
system.
it makes my life a lot easier because
Definitely.
instead of opening the refrigerator on Monday afternoon and saying, what am I going to make for dinner? I already know what I'm going to be making.
Yeah.
And it's all there for me and ready to go. So as, a mom of 2 young kids, it makes it a lot easier for me.
Sure. It makes such a
That's
difference.
a good division of labor.
and I think that's the reason why a lot of our friends who follow the page and live in the neighborhood, you can tell that there's a real disconnect between like every single day what they're going to do. Like if you're going into Wednesday night and you haven't gone to the store, or it's Wednesday afternoon and you still don't know what you're eating for dinner, you're not going to have probably a very nice dinner or get that opportunity to take that picture and put it on Instagram because you're probably microwaving something. So menu planning, that's another thing that though we're not trying to change the world with the Instagram page, we don't have any strategy, it's just fun for us right now. Our thoughts in it would be to somehow revolutionize that, to get people to think more about, like from Sunday, start thinking about what you're going to eat the entire week, get all those ingredients, and then once they're in your fridge, you're committed to it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you plan something for Thursday night and it's on Sunday and you haven't shopped and then it's Thursday, you're probably not going to make whatever.
Right.
So it's kind of
grab something fast or
you have
something.
You have to do both.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can change people's eating habits that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Make the world healthier.
And we bounce ideas off of each other. He does most of the menu planning, but we'll sit there together and think of what we want for the week. And sometimes he comes up with crazy ideas that I veto. Like, I wanted to make chicken noodle soup tonight, and he said, "What about chicken noodle soup with ground chicken?" And I said, "No, no."
Nice try.
But then there's things like BLT
You could
tacos.
take ground chicken and roll it into chicken meatballs,
Yeah,
and that would make a good like a
that's
wedding
true.
soup, right?
It's a compromise. All about compromise.
That's what I was going for. Where were you, Kat? Where were you, Kat, when I brought this up? I wasn't just going to throw ground chicken in there.
You need Kat to interpret it.
Just toss it.
Ludicrous.
But then he came up with BLT tacos, and they were fantastic.
That
So
sounds good, actually.
it's fun to
That was
try
actually-
things that are new.
I read that in the New York Times, but you know that's what happens. You have to
You take
find,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where
Inspiration.
these recipes you got to get inspiration.
Yeah.
And when you are creating your weekly menu, now that you've been spending a lot of time at the farmers markets, are you starting to get inspired by what's in season or what you're seeing different farmers growing? Does that play into your meal planning at all?
Absolutely. Yeah, like we ate so much corn this summer because it was delicious, and why wouldn't you? And I think we really do enjoy cooking seasonally and teaching our girls what is available to us, you know, throughout the year. And it's fun to try new things.
We've had this discussion several times. We're notorious procrastinators. We totally could have changed the world by now. Half of our ideas, one of our ideas, totally would have changed the world. But one of the things that we would always talk about is, I wish there was somewhere where I could just look up what's in season when.
Yeah.
Right? And these things probably exist, but so it's September, right? Going into October. Just what's in season? I don't know what is truly, because again, you can get a tomato any time of year.
Right, because they import it from different parts of the
Right?
world.
You
and
can get
they
a strawberry
design them to be
any time of the
stored.
year, but
Yeah.
most people know, like, I think it's June and July or the strawberry months.
Not
or-
in California.
Not in
So
California.
Carlsbad, Oceanside, January and February are two of the strongest harvest
Wow.
months for strawberries, which took me years to get used to because in most parts of the country, summer is strawberry
Yeah.
season. But because of the way the breezes work here, a lot of our strawberry growers are up right off the ocean, and they get a huge crop in the middle of winter.
There
It
you
freaks
go.
people out.
Yeah.
They don't know where
Because
they're
they
coming
plant
from.
in November here.
And the seasonal calendar thing, this is sort of interesting. The Farm Bureau typically does publish a seasonal calendar, but they haven't updated it lately. And because of all the climate change in the last 4 or 5 years, and then also farmers using hoop houses, that information isn't actually accurate anymore. So we're seeing farmers now are overrun with watermelons. It's almost October. It's crazy.
Really?
They
That's
came
really
in much
uncommon.
later, and it's still really warm, and so there were a lot of watermelons at the market yesterday. Wacko, you'd never find that on a calendar.
I remember last year Masael had all these pumpkins like
Yeah.
this time of year, and it
Right.
was
Well,
really
early.
early for him, and he said it's just a hot summer, so they grew faster and earlier. So
And
it's
what's
hard to
cool is
predict.
that you go to the farmer's market, you don't need an
That's
app or
true.
calendar to tell
That's
you.
right.
You
You just
just
look at
walk
the
around and
stands.
see it.
That's
If
true.
it's
That's
a California certified farmer's market, you're like, okay, this is what people
This
are
is what
growing.
people are growing right now.
And
And
that
sometimes
goes-
that changes our menu. If we see a beautiful eggplant, we say, well, what can we do with this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Improvise.
That goes back to your question of the inspiration or what we think when we're heading to a farmer's market. A lot of it is just walking around
Yeah.
and seeing what's out there. And then you see one of the vendors, those beautiful eggplants, like Tiffany said. And I remember I think a few weeks ago we went to the market and I was like, man, I remember a year ago we made fried green tomatoes.
Yeah.
And then we were walking around, we saw all the green tomatoes. Like, perfect. That's so funny that this is when they're out. So we got some of the green tomatoes, we got some of the nut crumbs, and holy moly.
So good, right?
So good.
Outrageous how good they were. And a couple weeks early, we had done the eggplant with the nut crumbs. So
That's a
it
great
was
Yes.
delicious. We just bought their pumpkin spice.
Oh yeah, that's a new one. They just gave me a sample.
Pumpkin
of
spice
that.
nut crumb.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice.
I actually made
So
pumpkin
cute.
bread with it
Oh.
yesterday, and I meant to bring you some.
Interesting.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I sprinkled it on top.
Yeah.
We made this delicious bread for you.
That we left.
That we
out.
forgot it. It's a thought that counts.
No, it's not.
It's the bread
We
that
want the
counts.
bread.
You can't eat it
I
because
can't
you have
eat it.
nut
Yeah,
allergies.
she's got the
Can't
nut
eat
allergy.
that.
So.
So many things in the market I can't have. Bitch and sauce, nut crumbs.
Yeah, you're talking about tacos. I avoid wheat more or less. Good wheat I'll eat. I have to know where it's coming from. Seedy wheat is fine because I know where those guys get their flour. But we just got a sample. We've got a new vendor starting that's doing a vegan cheese. But they also they make tortillas that are sorghum and cassava flour.
Okay.
So
Whoa.
totally gluten-free, but they've got perfect soft tortillas texture.
Wow.
Really good with no corn. No
Wow.
wheat. Yeah, it's cool.
Stuff.
So is there something that you would advise that farmers market farmers and vendors could do to maintain a shopper's interest or loyalty?
I was thinking about this, and I think a lot of people go to farmers markets because it's a scene. But like we were just talking, a lot of people go with something in mind that they want to get, or some people, like I was saying, may be inspired by what they see. Other people, I think it's just a scene, and they don't really know
Right.
what to do. And even to that point, even deeper than that, they don't have a menu plan. They don't know when they're going to go food shopping that week. They don't know what they're cooking, whatever. So I think some people are intimidated by cooking.
Yeah.
It's something that I think Tiffany always wasn't a great chef, wasn't always a great,
Thanks.
photographer. I'm talking about when she was like
Capturing
2
her
years
life.
old.
You guys can talk about that later.
Make sure to edit that one out. But I think if people had more inspiration, or at the very least guidance about what to do. Like you can look at corn and be like, wow, corn, I love corn. But they won't buy it because what am I going to do with it? I don't know. Oh, okay, I'll buy corn. So what do I do? Just eat corn? What do I eat with it?
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking, you could totally steal this. But what a great idea this would be. How this would revolutionize farmers markets. Should have weekly scavenger hunts.
Ah.
Offer up a recipe, like let's just say corn chowder. And I bet you can get every single ingredient
Well, yeah,
at the
for sure.
farmer's market, from the
Yeah.
salt
Yeah.
to the pepper, like Coronado spices or the salt farm, the corn, if you want to put peppers or chicken in it. And just they have to go around to each of the vendors and find these things. And so that could be a way, because again, some people may just be making macaroni and cheese all the time,
Yeah.
or maybe just steak and potatoes. But giving them an actual recipe, they could come to the main booth and
That's
grab
right.
it and then go around and grab all these
Put it in
things.
the
or
email newsletter.
Yeah,
That's a
Yeah,
really,
that's
a
fun
really good
idea.
idea.
Fun idea.
We're stealing that idea too.
Yeah, we are stealing that idea.
That is now our idea.
You don't have time for that. You're busy shopping,
Uh,
doing your
We're gonna
Instagram.
take this.
Absolutely.
We'll take this one out.
Absolutely.
We have done kids scavenger hunts.
Yeah, where they
Like
find
those-
like something green.
Yeah, and like a bingo card and stuff, and they
Yeah.
have to find
Talk
different
to a
vegetables.
farmer.
and
This
stuff.
will be like the
Yeah.
adult coloring book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scavenger
It-
hunt.
Yes, love that.
It's kind of like that because you're all a community at the farmers market, so you can go to, maybe it's something like you have more partnerships where the and I can never remember the woman's name, and she doesn't have, it's not like the farm is labeled, but she always has the huge amount of corn and the mushrooms.
Oh,
So-
Colorado
Right.
Farms.
Rami Kawano Farms.
Yeah,
okay.
Leach
Leach at the market.
And that's where we get the green tomatoes from. So,
Yeah.
if it's something where she can have a sign up, or it's something sponsored by the market that, okay, get the green tomatoes, and then all the way down the street, go get the nut
Go
crumbs.
get the nut crumbs.
Yeah.
She, actually, Kawano has been famous for, and unfortunately we've just changed the format of the market so they don't face each other anymore, they're back to back, but she and Salt Farm had a great deal going for years and years where she would always use Salt Farm on her samples. She'd cut up little pieces of tomatoes and had toothpicks and had Salt Farm on it, and then Salt Farm would do the same thing across the aisle from her. She'd use her
Smart.
tomatoes to to sample their salts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
nice.
really smart to do cooperative marketing between the vendors.
Absolutely.
And then you have like a snack idea. You know,
Yeah.
it's like right there, just really easy for people.
Right.
They don't have ideas. So.
Yeah, but so recipe cards, recipe postings on their booths and things, that would be a great idea.
Yeah. Do your girls help you cook at all in the kitchen?
They do. They're still pretty young, but they love helping me make pizza. We make pizza every Friday night, so they roll out the dough, and we make tortillas, and they help with that. Anything that they can get their hands in. Baking is a big thing that they like to do too.
Yeah.
So I think as they get older, they'll be able to contribute more, but just being in the kitchen and being happy to be there with me makes me happy.
Yeah, and you're totally molding how they're going to approach food.
Exactly.
Have you ever been on the road traveling or something and tried to slip them a Costco tomato and see their reaction?
I don't think their palates are that well defined. I mean, they're 4 and 2.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe a little bit older.
So
So
How old was Marley when he...
he was probably like 6.
Yeah, so he was given an apple that came from somewhere, Costco or
Vons
some
or something,
Vons
yeah.
something, and he
could tell the
bit it and he said, "What is this?"
He's like, it doesn't taste like it. He like had the most like sophisticated reaction. He was like, it doesn't taste like anything. It's very bland and it's very shiny. He goes, what's on it? He's trying to scrape the wax off, and he's like, there's a sticker on it. Like, it was so like innocent because he was so young, but I was like, wow, he's just really tuned in to like our
been
house.
awesome.
We don't have
he's
this
been
kind of food
raised
at
at
our house.
farmers markets. Yeah, it's funny.
I
They
do have
really-
to say they post their daughters' lunches on their stories, and they're like, "That looks good." Just like a little dinosaur, like cut out sandwich. I'm like,
yeah.
"I want that."
Yeah,
well,
those
she's
moms like
in
shaming the other moms.
I
They
know.
just throw like.
I'm not trying to shame anyone.
I
I'm just
know,
trying
just
to.
fun.
No, I know. Come up with. And everyone, I had a lot of messages saying, please post more lunches so we can get ideas.
Yeah, people love that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you talk about menu planning, people that are planning lunches for young children and then for teenagers who have their own set of pickiness really get stumped.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really hard for people. So the whole menu planning for kids is
Which
great.
Yeah.
probably then leads to anxiety
Right.
and
Yeah.
stress
Right.
and oh my gosh, my kid's gonna open up their lunch pail at school and everyone's gonna be like, what the heck? Are you eating?
Right,
Or-
that too.
Well, her teacher already commented. She said, what? Your lunches are amazing. Thank you.
Are either of your kids picky?
They're picky. I mean, they have their moments. It's kind of hit or miss. For dinners, I tend to dumb down what we're eating, and some nights they'll eat it, some nights they won't.
Not so much. Yeah, we have a photographer friend who does incredibly creative lunches and dinners at dairy.
Yeah.
And what she call her a three-nager, she says she just won't eat anything.
Yeah.
She
And
like-
she'll report like what the lunchbox came home with. Like, she'll take a picture of it and be like, "This is what came home. It's everything, like except for like one pea
The
or
grape.
something." But
She
she
ate
ate
the
the
grape.
whole same lunch last week. Like she ate the whole thing. So that's
Yeah.
just how kids
Where
are,
do you
but-
guys get your recipes, or do you come up? Are they all things that you came up with, or do you kind of cruise through recipe books and kind of make your alterations?
We actually have a ton of recipe books in our kitchen. And we have, our menu is typically, and this is something that's very helpful for people at home when it comes to menu planning. We have a few set days of the week. So Monday, I actually termed it Sal Monday. So we always
I know
have
the
salmon
salmon.
on Monday.
So on Monday, that's funny.
And so salmon is very healthy for you.
Right.
It's a great piece of fish. So we always know that a meal is going to be based around salmon. So that's pretty much half the battle when you have your protein figured out.
Yeah.
Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, but it's really anything Mexican themed. Wednesday, don't really have one. And that's sometimes the hardest one to figure out.
Yeah.
Thursday, don't really have one, so it's kind of struggling. We know we're going to do some kind of salad or a bowl, whatever it may be, with a grain. And Friday's pizza. So, we always make homemade pizza. And then Sundays typically super salad or whatever, maybe fall. When it's fall, we're going to do a chili or something. So, that always helps. But when it comes to coming up with other ideas, we get inspired by other people's picks on Instagram. I love New York Times cooking.
Yeah,
Just
that's
you can just type in, like sometimes I typed in, I can't remember if it was, it may have been eggplant. And so then we were trying to figure out, this is what, would be great with eggplant because I just saw a beautiful eggplant at the farmer's and bought it and we had already done Parmesan. I was like, well, what are we going to do with this one?
Yeah.
And so that helps. And then just looking back in our old Instagram pics, just to say, oh, I remember that was a great meal. I love that.
So if you're
Let's
trying
do
to
that
decide
again.
between two preparation methods, do you think about which one will photograph better?
I don't think he
Now that
does.
you're going on to
I do.
Instagram.
The picture, the photo taker.
Yeah, you know,
So does the Instagramming process inform your menu planning at this point?
I mean, I don't think it has that much, but certainly there are some things that we're making. It's like, how are you going to make this a good picture?
Right.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's, we have salmon every Monday, and
Yeah.
one of our favorite dishes is just a nice piece of salmon with Mediterranean couscous and rainbow carrots.
Uh-huh.
And there's only so many times that you could photograph something
Right.
and make it look new or interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
our comfort food here is, I mean, when everybody's really stressed out, it's like, can we just have a bowl of rice and broccoli and salmon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? So it's
Competitive.
how many photos of that can you possibly
Right.
take? So sometimes Tiffany does a great job of putting these together and propping them so it makes for a good picture. And then sometimes I'll just be at work and I'll text her to just, how about try it this way? Or let's just take a picture of the carrots or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But most of the time I come home, the pictures may be already taken. If it's not, I'll try to play with something. She's like, no. Or sometimes she'll
Do it
see
this
something
way.
and I'm
Do it
like,
this
no.
way. No, it's not going to
You
work.
stick to your menu planning. I'm taking
Yeah.
pictures here.
But it's-
Stick to this
Considering
shot.
how much we have to figure out from the menu planning to getting the ingredients to taking the picture and everything, we've been doing this for 7 months now. We're actually very collaborative, and
Yeah.
it doesn't, you would think after a while you'd be like, oh, like, no, this or that, but very rarely does it turn into it's not what I would have done, or,
Yeah.
So a fun creative outlet.
Yeah.
yeah.
So how do you feel about people sharing your photos? So like if a farmer comes back and snaps a screenshot of something that something from your Instagram account where it has green tomatoes. I mean, how do you feel about the farmer that grows the tomatoes picking up that photo? And
Oh, I
using
think
it?
that's great
You do.
because
As long
we're
as they,
tagging
like,
them.
Yeah, as long as they
Then it-
give you credit and
Yeah.
and mention your name and things.
Absolutely, because we want other people to see what we're doing with the product.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
great. So that's
Yeah.
a terrific relationship between bloggers, Instagrammers, and farmers and food makers. You know, if you don't mind them picking up your images and sharing them and giving you credit, a lot of farmers and food makers don't necessarily have those photo skills
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or the time.
It's
Pretty
such a
much
relief
not.
for us because running a small business, there's already so many things you have to do, and then on top of that, now it's like we live in this social media world where we have to have like a strong online presence, and it's hard to then also be a good food photographer.
Right.
Yeah.
Just adding that to the list. So when we found Tiffany and Terence, we're like, yes.
Yeah, somebody using our stuff that
Yeah.
looks good.
Photos.
Well,
Do you
like-
do classic photo styling things? I mean, do you use whipped cream to look like butter and things because it
No.
holds up better
No,
and
because
all
we're-
those
You do
photo
mashed
styling
potatoes,
tricks? Yeah, the mashed
yeah.
potatoes with the
Yeah.
whipped
No,
cream.
because what we're doing is I'm making it, I'm taking a picture, and then,
And then
we're
you're eating it.
Eating it.
Yeah.
We don't have time to mess around with
Yeah,
like
exactly.
fake foods.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest point of frustration in this whole operation is when she's taking a photo and I'm starving.
Yeah.
He loses
It's
his
fine,
patience.
it's
And I'm like,
fine.
just
Let's eat."
wait a minute, I'll be done in a second. Yeah.
So can I plate mine, please? Can I just eat already?
But we also have disasters. The girls will be trying to touch the food when I'm taking the picture.
Yeah.
That once one of the girls knocked over the plate and the dog ate the food. And my picture was just a disaster. We've got.
We should see some outtakes though.
I know.
Right.
I
That's
posted
funny.
those on the stories
Yeah.
just to see
I think
that.
I saw something
It's not so
charred
glamorous.
not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
The salmon.
Oh, it was the
Yeah.
salmon. Yeah, it was salmon briquettes.
Oh.
Some ladies in the neighborhood asked me to teach them how to make a simple dish, and I used someone's barbecue that I did not know it was as powerful
Like,
as
we
it
thought
was.
you were
and
professional.
Yeah, the salmon was
Crispy.
crispy. It was really embarrassing.
But she took a picture. It was
That's
great.
yeah, but I
Good
showed
to
it,
know.
and I
It's
showed the
encouraging
real
for
life.
other people that
Yeah.
say, hey, you know what, not everything comes out.
I tell her that all the time when if a picture doesn't go right or if a meal doesn't go right, and it was funny because we're always, in a social media world, it's, we only have 70 likes right now.
Yeah, right.
It's been up for a day or whatever. And there was one time we made a meal and we didn't really like it. And she was like, should I post it? And I said, of course you should post it and just say that we actually didn't really like it.
Yeah.
And that's that. I mean, we are normal people. We're not. If you're running a restaurant, you're probably not going to do that because you don't want to be the place that's like, yeah, we don't like our food. But I mean,
But no
we're
one's
just
coming to your house.
we're
That's
just
okay.
normal people
Yeah.
who don't have any culinary background or any schooling, and we're just
Real
making.
life.
I think that's an
Yeah.
encouraging thing for people to know that even though you make a lot of beautiful things, every once in a while something goes
Yeah.
wrong, and so
Yeah.
they can feel a little less hard on themselves that way.
Yeah,
And that's what's
totally.
fun about cooking is it's like experimenting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you could just print out your Instagram and it would be a cookbook. Like ready to go. Like, because your
that's a good
recipes are
idea.
already in
The
there.
Portland
Yeah.
State or Portland Farmers
I have
Market
that
has a
cookbook.
cookbook. We
Oh,
should
it's
make
gorgeous.
a cookbook.
Yeah.
Should absolutely.
And you guys
You don't
can
have a
curate it.
cookbook? you don't
We've
have
been
a.
through this a few times.
Yes.
I've had every time I hire a new person, they say we should do a cookbook, and then they get into it, and you look at the expense and
lot of
everything, and
work.
it's
We
it's a lot of work, and it's
we would
expensive.
totally work with you
Would you?
on
All
something
right.
like that because
Sign this contract.
that would be that would be a part of, and it's not about.
I actually just found a new printer that makes it make much more sense.
because
started
I
using these
love
guys 2 years
that.
ago.
I mean, I'm a very creative person in healthcare staffing, and I love doing stuff like this. I made a book for our 4th anniversary that's called what is it? 4 years of foodie.
Oh.
And it's just about some of the meals that she's made, but mostly about the restaurants that we've been to.
Oh,
And we
cool.
always just love
cute.
taking pictures
Nice.
of stuff. And it's
Yeah.
about, I made it on Shutterfly, and it's probably 40 pages long. And I mean, I worked for weeks on it. I actually had one ordered and called them and told them to cancel the delivery because I saw a typo. I spelled macaroons wrong.
Wow.
That's easy to do.
Yeah, so I put 2 O's in it, as in the Jewish
like
cookie.
the coconut one,
Yeah.
versus the French one.
And so yeah, so
It's gotta be
and
all
that-
right, we
that,
may have a project here.
that
Yeah.
can kind of play into the scavenger thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Seasonal.
That's what I was
Like
thinking
this
when you
page
talked about the
10.
scavenger. Yeah, is that you
Yeah.
could do it as a booklet like we do for the
Yeah.
conference, and
Yeah.
have different things in there. And then if you complete your whole book, you get a prize. You know?
And Sarah Marshall, who was on here, was a speaker at the Intense Conference, and we just did a podcast with her. She has a cookbook that she did. She said one and done on the cookbook, but she said one of the hardest things to do was the photographs of the food
Oh, yeah.
photographs. So you guys already have that.
Yeah, you're ahead of
I
the game
mean,
there.
you already have like a stockpile of those, so I feel like
Yeah.
they're already a kind of step ahead on that.
Yeah. Okay.
all right.
We're recording of
Another.
it.
We have
because
we're recording
we
this.
need more to
Can't
do.
backtrack. We just really need
Another
more
project.
More
Tier list.
projects.
I know that Justine wants me to start another project.
How about in March?
In March, maybe
1st,
after the conference.
conference.
Right? There we go.
All right, so we
Okay.
plow
You
through
wanna
our
do the-
questions and more.
Yeah. Do the question of the week.
Let's do it. Okay, so our question of the week this week is, what's the one thing you refuse to ever buy in a grocery store and only buy at farmers markets? So we can kind of start with you guys and then we'll flip around here.
So I would say right now, I mean, there's a few things. One, and again, it's not just because you're here,
You're getting so
but
much good PR.
I mean, I never liked sriracha in the first place, but I couldn't put sriracha on my food now if it wasn't the Baby Clydesdale
There we go.
sriracha. I mean, it is legitimately, and it's almost better. It's such a great savory, and it's got a little sweetness in it, but on hummus, forget about it. It is so good on hummus. But another thing that we really only buy at farmers markets is dog food.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, all right.
And it goes more to the question, like, I hate having to buy because I feel bad for them because it's changing it up on them. And sometimes you can see it in dogs with their stomachs if you're giving them something
Right.
for so long.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, dog food.
Interesting.
Cool.
Such a good
That's
bonus at the market. I feel
Yeah.
like just have those extra
Right.
things for all your family members.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is he gonna get his own Instagram handle though?
Yeah.
If he did, I mean, this is the most lovable. I mean, he looks like a little teddy bear. So we actually have been talking about that. Like, why do we not have Copper in more pics? Because
Copper in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's perfect.
he would
That'd be a good cookbook.
he would get a lot of followers, a lot more
That's right.
followers than we have.
Oh man, dog Instagrams are like
I
blowing up right now. To get a dog, I guess. Tiffany, what's your something that you get at the farmers market that you can't get anywhere else?
I think I'm with Terrence on that. The dog food and definitely the sriracha.
Yeah.
Oh, and balsamic, yes.
Oh, balsamic. Yeah. Where do you guys get your balsamic?
California.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yep.
Bridget
we love
gets that
it.
by the gallon.
I get it. Yeah, she gave me a half gallon, and it just like it was awesome because I was constantly running out. So yeah, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's nice and thick at the viscosity
Yeah.
of it. If you buy not normal, but balsamic vinegar in a grocery store, it's going to be less viscous.
Yeah, it's so thin. I get the white balsamic
Oh.
from her. I
Ooh.
love it, and I
Yeah.
put
So,
baby Clydesdale sriracha.
This episode is brought to you by Baby Clydesdale small batch hot sauce.
She's paying us all.
yeah, you have to do it. It goes to a point early that you were bringing up, Kat, about is it okay for people to have pictures or repost pictures? One of the things my mom and I always joked about is anytime we liked something, we were like, oh no, it's only a matter of months before it's no longer on the shelf.
Right.
And so I need people to know about Baby
Right.
Clydesdale.
So
Buy
to
it.
stay in business.
I always say to Chip, I was like,
Stay.
what are we going to do the day that there's no longer, I'm never going to eat eggs again.
That's what we say about restaurants. It's like, oh, I don't know if this restaurant's gonna make it. I'm like, let's go every day.
And tell everyone.
Tell everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kat, what do you? I mean, I know the list is long, but pick
The list is
pick
long.
a couple key items. I know you don't even. Kat's like, I can't be seen in a grocery store. Like I'm not
Yeah,
going
you
to.
probably send
Yeah.
like Jerome in disguise.
All right.
If she comes to my house and there's like produce in a plastic bag, like I have kids, I have to like buy bananas.
Yeah.
You know, I can't get them to the market. She gives me like such a shaming eye, like the dirtiest look. Like you went to the grocery store. So I have
You bought produce at Trader Joe's?
when Kat comes over, I just like hide all my groceries. But
That's
go
good.
ahead.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah,
Tell
well, for me,
everybody.
it's definitely, produce. Like, I would just can't even imagine eating a tomato that's been in deep storage and it's been hybridized to be hard, which is the goal at grocery stores because they ship.
Yeah.
So a tomato or something like that just seems like a waste. But also eggs. I
Yeah.
never buy eggs at a grocery store. It's the yellow yolks, what they're eating, the way chickens are treated in corporate, in the factory farming of chickens is really, really nasty.
Yeah.
And the flavor. Once you get used to eating chickens that have been eating grass and the fruits that the other farmers throw away that the chicken farmers take back and give to them and things, the flavor of those eggs is just completely different.
You just inspired us. The way that you just described it,
Yeah.
especially with the yellow.
Yeah.
But it's not
the
supposed to.
orange
The
yolks
orange
are
yolk,
so
yeah.
beautiful. Every once in a while I'm somewhere. Not Bridget's house. I'm not going to say it's Bridget's house, but every once in a while I'm somewhere.
We get 3 cents eggs now.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
Nick
All right, good.
delivers
We
them to my
delivered
house
you.
sometimes when I can't
Oh,
come
yes.
to the market.
Yes, that's good.
I know,
Took
it
a while
converted
to-
me with eggs. It took
Okay,
me so
thank
long.
you.
I got like the 5 dozen at Costco. Like my family eats so many egg dishes. So, but
Yeah,
I've
but they were
converted.
just those pale anemic yolks.
Yeah.
It was so sad when you cracked one of
I know.
those.
So
so
sad.
sad. Yeah, 3 cents,
Converted.
Dolly Ranch.
Dolly Ranch, so good. Yeah, you really can taste the difference. I feel
You
like.
can.
Yeah, the kids appreciate. One of my kids won't touch any eggs, so it kind of takes down the buzz from the eggs. Justine, what do you only get?
Okay, lettuce.
Yeah.
Especially with all the like freaky
Yeah,
E.
recalls
and
coli
things.
happening. So lettuce for sure. And then also berries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Berries. I feel like by the time I get them home for the grocery store, they're like beat up and they just like don't taste that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're so much better at the farmer's market. And I know that there's also a lot of just like controversy with like different brands that use, not the best labor practices.
Right,
Yeah.
because a lot of berries
Berries,
here in the grocery
yeah.
stores come from Chile and
Yeah.
Argentina.
And they're a lot of times like sprayed a lot. So
Yeah.
berries and lettuce for sure. at the
And they
farmer's
taste
market.
so. I mean, like
Oh,
everything.
gosh.
But I feel like
Yeah.
if you did a blind
Fruit.
test, if anyone ever argues that like grocery store berries are just as good, you could just do a blind test, and it's like absolutely not.
Yeah, stone
Not
fruit,
true.
berries, tomatoes, any of that fruit is just so different when it's fresh.
Honestly, everything. Yeah. And I feel like the lettuce, it stays fresh for so much longer from the farmer's market. Like if I get a box of lettuce at the grocery store, it's bad like in a couple days. But at the farmer's market, I get it from JR, and it's like I'll get the lazy man's bag of like already torn up
Cleaned and
and washed. I like that. But it doesn't go bad very soon. I can have it for a week and it's still good in there. Not like it usually lasts that long, but lettuce definitely. All right, I'm going to say yes to all those things too, and then my main thing that I just don't buy anywhere else now, not that I really did because I feel like grocery store cheese selection is not always the best, but I can't buy like Brie or like Gouda, like the cheeses that are like my staples in my life from anywhere else than the farmer's market, and I think it just tastes better if like a French man hands it to you. So
like-
yeah, he puts like his French ness on it, and he says like messy, you know, like it's just, and then I'm like, this is gonna taste great.
This is gonna be so much
This is
better.
good, and I'm eating it with my bread, and it's like, yes, I feel French. So thank you, Frank.
Your market bread.
Yes, my market bread, my bread and sea baguette, and yeah, it's so good. So the cheese definitely, and then because I always have to talk about something sweet every podcast, apparently, I just don't buy cookies anywhere else. Like I always get cookies in the market because I get Maya's cookies, and then I get the ugly cookie, which is the best. It's a vendor shit only makes one kind of cookie. It's chocolate chip oatmeal cookie.
And they're drop cookies. They're
Yeah.
kind of like misshapen. They are ugly.
They're super ugly, but they're so good, and I just buy them by the dozen, and it's like, it's so good, and they're so fresh, so.
Have you tried the cheesecake in a cup?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of like when he started at the market, like whatever, 8 years ago, and it was his mom selling it, I ate so much cheesecake.
Oh
I kind of like
my
overdosed
gosh.
on it. I was like, it's little. I'll just snack on it. So I had like 6 every market, and then I was
It
like,
is so
I can't eat it.
good.
It's so
Very
good.
good.
It's really good.
Key lime. It's yummy.
Mm.
Oh,
And
those
he
are
just
good
sells it
cheesecakes.
too. I mean, it tastes better if a man with a frilly apron hands it to you, I think.
And our
Says
life,
my mama made this cheesecake.
yes,
we
Kelsey
love
and his
Casey.
mother.
Yeah.
to
love
your
it.
point about the cheese, our life changed. Our lives changed 2 weeks ago. Or was it last week when we bought? And I was looking at the Instagram handle. Is it Frenchie?
The Frenchie
Yogurt.
yogurt.
Oh, Frenchie yogurt.
Like
Yeah.
sheep's milk.
Sheep's milk yogurt.
But we got the sheep's milk in the
The
jar.
cheese and the little
Yes.
balls. Oh
Holy
my goodness!
cow.
We have a chef
Can't
that
go
comes
back.
to the Wednesday market who just discovered that, and he came back last time and bought I think 12 jars.
Oh my
I'm going to
gosh.
figure out how to deal with
Bring
this
your
on
own
the menu.
bucket.
It's so
Pretty
good.
incredible.
Could not believe
Yeah.
how good that was.
Yeah.
We put it on the CD. We was like, oh,
Yeah.
come on.
So many good things.
Gotta walk
So
to
many
the
good
market
things.
from
That's right.
my house in North Park to make that cheese burn off. Awesome.
It's light. It's sheep's milk cheese.
It's light. Oh
It's
yeah,
light.
that's right. It's healthy. I feel like anything at the farmer's market is healthy. I'm like, this cookie is healthy because I got it
'Cause
at the
came from
farmer's market.
market.
All in balance.
Okay, it's all right.
Cheesecake in a cup.
Yeah.
Farmer's market cheesecake.
As long as you just have one. It's just a cup.
Yeah.
It's just a cup of cheesecake.
There's produce everywhere, so it's healthy.
That's right.
All right. Well, this
That
was
was
so
great.
fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Of
thanks so
course.
much for coming and talking.
Have you
to us.
listened to the podcast?
I did. Yeah, I've listened to it.
Mm.
I don't think
What's a podcast?
Yeah.
That's what Kat said when I was like,
That's
let's
what
start a
Kat
podcast.
said.
They finally said, it's like radio.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening to this best of episode. We're working on some great new episodes coming your way soon. Be sure to leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you're listening to this podcast and let us know how we're doing. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast as well so you don't miss the next episode. And if you want more farmers market information, tips, and tricks, you can subscribe to our weekly email newsletter at intensebusiness.com and follow us on Instagram at intensebusiness. Remember, that's INTENTS business. Early bird tickets to Intense, the Farmers Market Conference 2020 in San Diego will be available July 8th. We hope you'll join us on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2020. Subscribe to our email newsletter and watch for special announcements. This podcast is produced by Intense Business, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded and edited by Justine Marzoni-Mead. Original music by David Mead. Special thanks to our guests, Tiffany and Terence, and San Diego Market.